Hey everyone, welcome to Learn to Write Sci-Fi. I am Rick Graham, the content creator for this video series. So today is day 25, and today we're going to be talking about book covers. There's been a long time that we've been building up to this part. We're getting close to the end of this 30-day challenge, and hopefully you've already started writing, and hopefully you're making some really serious progress. Now, when it comes to book covers, I am not going to say that I'm an expert. Okay, if you go and you look up some of my stuff, most of my stuff, I will admit, I made myself. All right, the reason that I did was at the time I was trying to be cheap. Honestly, when you go to websites like Fiverr, which is FIVERR.com, so there's two R's, it is a fantastic resource. And if you start doing any sort of other research on YouTube or on Facebook or just Googling, how to do your own Amazon, Kindle, direct publishing and everything, a lot of them are going to be telling you need to go to Fiverr, and I'm completely sold out and on that train now. My last book cover, actually both of my printed books I did with Fiverr. All of the short stories I was doing, I decided to do myself because I had access to deposit photos where I could get a picture. It was like the equivalent of like $1 with the way that the promo was and stuff. And then I know a little bit of Photoshop, so I was able to put something together. But at the time, I didn't give enough credit to a proper book cover. And honestly, I've said this in other videos, but people do judge a book by its cover. Most people, not everybody, and you could definitely be the exception, most people use the visual component when kind of assessing if something is good or bad. We just kind of do it instinctively as people. So when you're scrolling through your phone or you're clicking through on your desktop or your laptop or your tablet or whatever, and you see this big list of book covers, and you're like reading through the book titles, you're just sort of glancing over at the pictures every now and then. And, then you end up seeing one that you're like, wow, that looks like an interesting book cover. Maybe I'll take a look. Oh, the title sounds cool. All right, so let's read what it's about. How many books do you have that are fiction that you would probably say they have a very ugly cover, but you gave it a chance anyway? Most people, when you look at statistics for how many people read books, so many people do not read anymore. So many people don't read after school. Like once they graduate, they don't read anymore, or they read like a handful of books the rest of their life. They're obviously not like you and me because they're obviously not, readers. But there are a lot of people who are, and, Kindle and other, digital ebooks have allowed that to kind of kick back into gear a little bit, I think, because there's a lot of people who still read. A lot of people making a living doing this. But as far as, you need to really, really think about your cover. You need to really, make sure, if I had to pick myself, now this is only me, take it for what it's worth. If I had to pick, because I know what it's like, when you're first starting, you don't have a lot of money, and you have to really pick and choose about what you're going to be spending money on. I think you really need to have a really good idea for the story, and you really need to try to work on that and make that, work and be entertaining. After that, the title's very important, but the cover will hurt you. And you know how I know? Because I have stories that the people who've read it said they're really good, but then my digital short stories, sometimes the sales were not anywhere near where I wanted, and I only have myself to blame because I cheaped out with the book covers. I have found this lady on Fiverr. There's a bunch of different ones, but I found one so far that I like. She did this book cover. I have this available digitally, but also as a physical book. So she designed this cover. I picked out like a picture from deposit photos, and she kind of just finished it up. But I paid her not that much at all. If you really want to get something like custom made, she can even do more than this, but then you have to spend more. So it was like a budget thing at the time. Blame me, whatever, I was experimenting, okay? So, but she, added the text, everything printed very nicely. I'm very happy with it. There wasn't any issues whatsoever. She got it done really quickly. Her name is Olivia Pro Design. It's one word. She does stuff really quick. She's been really nice. I actually have a different book cover with her that I'm already working on. It's going to be a product that's coming out hopefully next week. And I mean, so far I'm really impressed with her. There's a lot of others though. So I mean, I heard of, if you ever heard of this one guy, he does nonfiction, Michael Hyatt. He said, when I'm reading through his book called Platform, which is to help authors be able to, or actually anybody be able to become content creators online to build your audience. And that could be on multiple different vehicles like Facebook, YouTube, your blog, whatever. And he says that, you know, one thing that they do, they'll actually get like 4 different artists for when they're trying to do book covers. Because he used to be a CEO of a big publishing company. And he said, you know, sometimes they'd get 4 different designs for a book cover. And then they could really kind of see, okay, I told them all the same thing, and they all gave me something different because they're each interpreting it differently. And then you can kind of see, okay, what works, what doesn't work. I really like this guy where he's going. I want to really, you know, stick with him. I want to try to build something out of this. So you could do that with Fiverr too. I mean, some of these people, they're doing it for $5, $15. I mean, it's really not that much. It's really not. If you're going to be writing a whole bunch of digital short stories, which is actually one of the things that I'm working on right now, is releasing my series that's going to be starting, like I was saying, next week. I'm just going to pony up for it. I'm just going to pay. I'm trying out Olivia Pro Design one more time. I thought she did a great job last time, but I want to try her again. And if I like what she's doing, I'm probably going to stick with her for at least through the rest of this series, so that way it kind of has a consistent feel. And I mean, I know one thing that people were saying as far as when it comes to series, you really want things to kind of seem the same. And that was something that I sort of did when I was doing it myself, but it wasn't good enough. And I've spent a lot more time looking at other book covers, seeing what other authors are doing, and like, okay, I need to kick mine into gear because mine look outdated. And they're made recent, but what I was kind of basing them on was older book covers, and that was my own fault. So learning from that, passing it on to you so you don't do the same thing. If you've never heard of it, it's Fiverr, F-I-V-E, 5-er, so with 2Rs.com. There's a ton of different people that do book covers. You know, you can check their work out. You do have to pay ahead of time before you get the book design. That's the only thing that might be kind of iffy, but I've never had a problem with anybody. There was one guy, I've used Fiverr a couple times now, there was one guy that kind of was like yanking me around, but yeah, I gave him a bad review, and then he made sure he got everything that I was supposed to get. Unfortunately, I had to get to that part because he wasn't really cooperating. The only downside of Fiverr is that, as far as for U.S. viewers that are watching, is that you're working with a lot of people that are outside the country. That's not a problem. That's not a negative. It's just that the language barrier is there. And some people speak really good English. Some of them understand it very well, but don't speak it the best. And then there's others who kind of clearly are using like Google Translate or something. So just kind of, you know, read through their posts, their description of what they offer and everything. Really understand what you're getting and kind of get a feel for, okay, do they speak English? Because if your English is your primary language or your only language, you want to make sure that you can communicate with somebody, especially somebody as valuable as an artist, especially for your cover, because this is potential sales right here that you're either going to gain or lose. So you really do need to try to find somebody that can do a really good job. And I have no issue whatsoever hiring anybody outside the country. I know that for them it's probably great, because if the U.S. dollar is worth more over there for them, I mean that's nice. And you also are able to tip after you finish the transaction. Both sides are happy. The transaction's finished. You are actually able to tip the artist if you felt like, yeah, I'm so excited with what they did that you want to give them some more. You absolutely can. So that's pretty much with the book covers. Don't cheap out unless you're like really phenomenal at Photoshop skills, which I've seen some people are. It's just not worth it. It's a couple bucks, even if you're just getting started. Spending $5, $10 for a book cover that makes your book seem that much more professional is just worth it. It elevates you to a different level. It'll be book covers that you're really proud of because, you know, you paid somebody that's an artist, that they do this day in, day out. They understand it. They think about it. You know, they can just do it so much faster than you. Why go learn how to do everything? And that's one thing, as I keep saying, if you're going to be a business owner, which is what you're creating right now as a business, you have to be able to delegate. You can't do everything on your own, because if you try to do everything, you won't really be able to get anywhere. You're going to need a team. And a lot of successful entrepreneurs that do consulting or stuff like this, where they're doing Kindle Direct Publishing, which is what we're discussing, they hire other people. They hire, VAs that live in other countries or that live around the world, or they hire people off of Fiverr to design stuff for them. I mean, take advantage of these tools. 10 years ago, there just wasn't a way to do this kind of stuff that there is now. Take advantage of it. It'll help you be that much more successful, that much faster. And, when you start doing marketing, your product will just look better. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. The series is getting closer to the end. There's going to be more content after, but I'm excited for the 30-day stuff and as we're moving forward. So if you'd like to follow us on Facebook, it is Learn to Write Sci-Fi, and then on YouTube, it is White Light Media. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.